a good exercise is to put yourself in the shoes of another CEO. So if you're Tim Cook, you're the CEO of Apple, and right now you're looking at an explosion with IoT, getting into the devices, getting into voice, and basically all of your devices in the home now, from toilets that provide data to refrigerators that talk to you, to dishwashers and washer dryers that are spilling out thousands of digital emissions per day. As Apple, that's been such a big part of our life, wants to expand. They're looking at this explosion of 50 bazillion devices that are going to be connected over the internet. So how should they attack it? How should they penetrate the home? And of course, they already have many things inside the home. They have the Apple TV, all their smartphones, the watches, and the AirPods. But what else? Because really, right now, going from 3 or 4 devices to 50 devices, that's a big leap. And how do they ensure that they don't miss the boat? Just like Kodak missed, they considered themselves in the photographic business, not in the memory business. They missed multiple businesses. Not only the digital camera business, but they really missed the Facebook, business and the Instagram business. And so they kept missing businesses. And so they are not going to be a part of our future. And it's a shame because they were synonymous with our memories. And the same thing with BlackBerry, and Intel. I can see how BlackBerry missed it. Intel, I still can't understand how they missed the smartphone market. How can you miss the smartphone market? But both BlackBerry and Intel missed it. And development cycles are 2-3 years. And even after the iPhone came out, Intel missed the entire chip industry for smartphones, but then they had to pay many billions of dollars to buy Mobileye. So they missed the chips in a certain device that was not a computer. They didn't want to miss the chips in another device, which was a car. So they bought Mobileye. It was a good buy. Now they're in the center of that revolution. But are they going to miss the refrigerator chips? Are they going to miss the lamp chips? Are they going to miss there's so many things going on. But back to Apple. So what should Apple do so it doesn't fall into this situation? How do they get into the home? So when you look around your house and you think about the things that are going to generate data, think of everything generating data. Apple seems to have missed. They got early into the digital assistant with Siri, but they missed the home digital assistant. So weird to see these amazing companies with millions and millions of dollars invested in president and VP and senior VP and all these people working on strategy and teams, entire teams and reams of people and data. And they have basically everything, access to consultants. That's why at the end of the day, it's amazing that in this era, just 2 folks in a garage and they can take on a Goliath because they may have a clearer idea of how customers are changing and what they need. It's amazing. What's the best path to get into the home? Should they buy a furniture company like IKEA? Should Apple buy IKEA and put chips on every single thing, every single furniture? The beds now will have sensors. It's really IoT because you can measure humidity and temperature and movement and pressure. And so there's all sorts of things you need to be able to measure and calibrate. They could put things on couches and how many times you're sitting, and they can have the couch potato factor, just like they created the screen time KPI. Now they can have the couch potato KPI. They could have, should they buy a window company and put chips on windows and have sounds and vibrations and temperature differential outside, inside, and that's how you calibrate your air conditioning. If they want to get into the kitchen, they have to partner up with somebody. It's very hard. I don't think you can launch like that an appliance. Maybe they want to launch their own washer, dryer, refrigerator. But do they partner? I don't know if they can buy. This is where it gets critical because one of their main competitors, who is their main competitor? Is it Huawei? Is it Samsung? Is it Android? They have multiple competitors on multiple fronts. But on the hardware front, well, I would venture to say that we should look at competitors on the data front. Not hardware or chips or software, but just data. Like how much first-party data can you get? If you look at it that way, a competitive set through first-party data, their main competitor is both Huawei and Samsung. Independently, which has more devices connected, I think Samsung is a bigger competitor because Samsung's breadth is much deeper than Huawei's in the house. Because you could argue that Huawei has a deeper footprint in 5G infrastructure. So they actually, because they are also a network operator and a backbone installer, they have data like you wouldn't believe on many other things. That's why I think it's become such an issue with the Trump government and Huawei and this whole, China-US dynamic that's going on. But at the end of the day, they have a lot of data, they have a lot of infrastructure, they are putting in 5G in a major way in China and across the world. So they are a major player in 5G. And And so that's a different set of data. But when you're talking about the home, obviously there's other brands like Whirlpool and Maytag, and should Apple buy Whirlpool and Maytag, and consolidate them and come up with their home appliance brand? I think they should. I think they should, because if not, they're going to have a very hard time competing with the Samsungs of the world. And they're really going to be able to get a ton of data out of the dishwashers, washer, dryer, ovens, microwaves, and especially refrigerators. They're going to get a ton of data. They're already a telecommunications company, so they already have the data from the phones. So if you were to ask me which would be a bigger threat to kind of an Alexa, managing all the data from the house, I think it probably would be a Samsung-driven digital assistant that's basically connects a lot of the things in the kitchen, just because you have to think of your home in terms of productivity areas and where you produce things and where you can have data. The main productivity areas is the kitchen, the TV room, as it relates to how much time you're sitting watching TV and calculating those sit times, screen times, couch potato factor that people are becoming more aware of in this era of wellness and consciousness of screen time and outdoor activities and overweight and obesity. More than the TV room, the place of maximum productivity and data explosion, I think, is going to be the kitchen. A lot of players, a lot of the apps where you order your supermarket stuff, they already have a ton of data on you. But now I think the refrigerators are going to kill them. I mean, it's crazy to think that a corner shop app might face a very big threat from a Samsung or LG digital assistant in the refrigerator. So if you think about it, the kitchen is going to have multiple appliances connected to data, and you're also connected to solutions. So the solutions are like, how much money do you spend on groceries? Is there a way for you to save money? So imagine algorithms that between the toaster and the oven and the refrigerator and the dishwasher, they're calculating basically how much you eat, what you eat, how often you eat it, and they go out and they figure out, well, if you made these different recipes, or if you bought these different products, if you were cooked with this instead of that, you could save 20% or 30% of your groceries. Get even more bang for your buck. So can you imagine that? Like, that's now the best use of resources in the house. Now, the most important resource that you have not only is money, but time. So imagine apps that are like measuring how much time you spend on different things and now allow you to optimize and say, hey, let me offer you this service, because with this service, you don't have to do this stuff. And it could be anything. They figure that you're spending too much time cleaning the house, so they offer you solutions to do that easier. They figure that you're spending too much time organizing, so all of a sudden they give you an organizational solution. But because there's sensors and there's cameras and there's different things, when you analyze voice, there's some amazing stuff out of MIT. Michael Rubenstein. You have to see the videos from Michael Rubenstein, but he uses voice to basically predict a number of things. So MIT is doing crazy things in that regard. You can figure out how many people are in the room, and they do very detailed camera. So it's computer vision, but applied to interpreting the micro movements of plastic bags and windows and plants and water inside a glass to be able to figure out conversations and where people are standing. And pretty amazing. I'll put the links and the videos in your materials so that you can take a look at that. You have to take a look at that. Michael Rubenstein is a must look at type of content. So what should Tim Cook do? What should Apple do to get into the home? The bathroom. Obviously, if they want to do health, and that's probably where Apple will end up. I feel like Apple is moving more towards health because of their smartwatch. And should they get into these magic mirrors, the mirrors that are screens, should they buy those types of companies and come up with those types of products? The problem is that until now, really, mirrors have been a commodity. They don't have a brand. It's a mirror, right? But now, going forward, mirrors will be branded and they will be an appliance, like a TV screen, no? But it's a camera with a screen, and it's going to allow you to do overlays and projections, and then you can see different haircuts and different clothing and different lipstick and different, makeup options, and you're going to be able to try those and do a lot of simulations as to how you're going to look before you go out into the world. And those are the things that are going to be now possible. Now, that entire industry may be killed with VR. So all of a sudden you put the HoloLens, and then you're just watching a regular mirror, but all the overlays are happening inside the glasses. So is it going to be the smart glass? Is it going to be the smart mirror? It remains to be seen, but there's no right and wrong answer. But I want to just convey, these are the types of things that a CEO, they have 100 different options. How should they approach? We just did the home. Like, if we wanted to talk about how should Apple get into the office, or how should Apple get into hospital, it really kind of explodes from there. So think about that and do that exercise with different companies that you're familiar with your own company as well. That will help you drive a lot of this thought process about the future and scenario planning. Good luck.